All right, guys, we want to go over your 5 questions for Monday. They are a review of our monthly. So let's take a look. Barbara finished 3/8 of a puzzle on Thursday and 1/3 of the same puzzle on Friday. If she finished the puzzle on Saturday, what fraction of the puzzle did she build on Saturday? So think about this. You have a whole puzzle. She did a part of it on Thursday, a part of it on Friday, and then the rest of it she did on Saturday. This is a 2-step problem. A lot of you will just do the first step and then pick the answer over here. If you don't do the second step, you'll get it wrong. So think about what it's asking you and take the parts she did on Thursday and Friday, put them together, and then figure out the part that's left because that's Saturday, right? There's lots of ways to do this one. Do it any way you want, but make sure you pay attention to the words. Number 2, a family picked 6 pounds of strawberries. So they got 6 pounds of strawberries. The strawberries were divided equally into 7 buckets. How many pounds of strawberries were in each bucket? So you probably want to draw a picture here so that you can think about what it's asking you. There are 7 buckets. And then you take the 6 pounds of strawberries and put them in each bucket. And we want to know how many pounds are in each bucket. So if there's 7 buckets and only 6 pounds, there's not going to be more than 1 pound in a bucket, right? So if you look at these choices and pay attention to the word, you probably shouldn't even have to do any math. This is a test-taking strategy to get the answer. Now, if you multiply 6 and 7, that answer's there. If you subtract 7 and 6, that answer's there. If you divide it, 6/7 and 7/6, basically division problem, right? So you have to figure out, basically, thinking about the problem is one way to solve it. Drawing it and thinking about it, you could easily get the answer. You can also do the math, and you should easily get the answer also. But remember, we talked about this. The confusing part for you guys when it comes to these fractions and parts of things is you don't know whether to add, subtract, multiply, or divide, and that's the confusing part. So if you draw a quick little sketch and think about what it's asking you, you'll get the computation. Then you can do the computation. But if you just randomly, a lot of you guys just want to grab these numbers and start adding or multiplying them. Think about what it's asking you by sketching it out. The next one, same thing, sketch. Basketball team had a 15-gallon cooler filled with water. There are 10 players on the team. Which fraction represents the amount of water in gallons each player receives if it's shared equally? That's the key word. So put your players out here and then start giving them each a gallon of water. And all you have to think about, if you start to think, even before you do the math, you'll start to see, well, each player is going to have more than 1 gallon of water, right? So you can easily come down here and start eliminating some of these choices, because if the answer down here, if it equals less than 1 gallon, it's wrong, right? And then you can do up the math, and you should easily be able to determine that just by looking at your picture. Or you can do the math. Either way. So just some hints. We've been working on that one for a while. Now, this is from all the way back on our Math Monthly 1 test. They want you to pick the number here. Now, we told you there are no test-taking strategies for this. You just got to try these out, right? You got to do each one. But now what I like to say, because remember, on the FSA test, you have about 2.5, 3 minutes to answer each question, or you'll start running out of time, right? Now, some of these questions will be easy and quick for you, and some will take more time. So we have to balance this out, right? So the test-taking strategy for this one is to try to figure out, instead of just testing all these blindly, let's figure out what it's got to be close to. So if you look up here, 587, you're close to 600. So if you put a 6 up here in the hundreds, and the question mark is in the tens place. So if you throw a 6 up here and then put your numbers in here to test it out, if you put a 7 here and multiply it by, let's just multiply it by 500 because it might be easier. If you take the 4, let's take the 4 and put it up here, and you do the 4 times this 5, you know you're going to get 20. Well, they gave you the answer and it's 37. So just estimating, you can figure out the 4 is going to be way too small, right? Now, if you take this 5 and put it where the question mark is, and remember, this number is going to be much bigger. Even if you want to make it a 6, it doesn't even matter. Let's make it a 6 this time. And you put the 5 up there. Well, 5 times 6 is 30. And we've already made this number much bigger, right? And we need to get all the way to 37. So this is just kind of my way of showing you, you may have to check every single one before you get the right answer. But if you do a quick little estimation and move this to 600 and then put the 4 in there, well, 600 times this 4, which would be 40, is only going to get you 24,000. So nowhere near that. So don't test the 4 first, then put the 5 up there. Nowhere near. Now, the 6 and 7 are very close to each other. It's probably the answer was either the 6 or 7, right? But you've got to figure out which one it is. Now, remember, this is closer to 600, right? So if you estimate a 6 there and put the 7 in it, that's 42. Kind of way, way over, right? So if you're short on time and you need to make a best, when we say make your best guess, that's how you do it. But remember, a problem like this, you can easily just test each one to get the answer, right? But try to use that little estimation. Try to pick which one you think is the answer, because then maybe you can just test one and get the answer instead of having to do every single one, which could save you some time, right? But we don't want anybody to rush, but just a little strategy, right? And the last one, this is just quickly touching on a 4th grade concept for what we're doing in decimals. In the number 913,874, which digit is in the 10,000s place? Just remember, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. You guys have been, I know for a fact you've been doing that since 2nd grade. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Say the number out loud. If you say it out loud, you can hear it when you say it. All right. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.